People who have inspired me. First of all, I would say my wife, who is beautiful and wonderful, and may pop in on this video. You never know. uh, Next is Eckhart Tolle. I loved his books. I read The Power of Now, which I would recommend to anyone. Sorry, this is the beginning of my YouTube career, so I'm doing this on an iPod with an iPhone. So if I become really successful at this, then I'll go back and say all you need is an iPod and an iPhone. Hi, honey. Anyway, and I will become successful at this one way or another. What was I talking about? Eckhart Tolle. Eckhart's book, The Power of Now, that book changed my life. It really did. It gave me a new view of everything and every moment that I live, especially now. Hence the name, The Power of Now. So, Dr. Wayne Dyer, I liked his books. I've listened to many of his talks. I've listened to or I've read several of his books. Pam Grout is who I'm reading now. Just about finished her book, which is called E Squared. Really cool book. Actually got that on Audible.com, which I've always been thinking about trying, and I just decided to try it here recently, and I think I'll be buying a lot of books on that because it's great when you're running or if you're at the airport or somewhere where you don't have Wi-Fi or you just want to listen to something worthwhile besides mindless crap. And who else? There's been so many. I've recently discovered a cool YouTube channel, which is called You Are Creators, and hopefully they'll be watching this one day, and gave them a little plug. But they there's a couple, I don't know their names or whatever, but I watched a lot of their videos, and they've done their own videos where they've interviewed people, which is really an inspiration to me because I want to do that with my wife. And they've also just downloaded really inspirational videos from other people, and I'm working on learning how to do that without violating copyrights and all that. But there's talks by stuff like from Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, which if you're watching this, many of you may have read that book, which was really good. I'm starting to listen to Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan has a really cool podcast, a lot of spiritual things on it, and I think that's what I can't say I'm into that now. I think we're all into that. There's no way not to be into that, because I got to a point in my life where I guess in 2010 was really when all this began. I was working, or I'm still working, as a captain on a supply boat in the Gulf of Mexico. And in 2010, I was laying in the bed on the boat. Hi, my wife's back. And I'd prayed every night. Every night I've done that for a long time, and I'd sit there and I'd say, okay, well, take care of my family, God. Take care of my family, take care of my friends. Peace on earth, and all this stuff. And I remember laying there, and I just went, who am I talking to? What is this all about? Hey, honey. Yeah, it's my life. It's my beautiful wife. You can't see her, but she is beautiful. But I was laying there, and you know, after I'd got done praying, and I just went, "Who is this? Who?" And I said bad words, but it was, uh, you know, God or the source or whatever you want to call that would know that you cuss if you do. Uh, I just said, "Who? What is this all about? I don't know what this is." I went to church. I went to all different. I've been around all different types of people in my life, and all different religions, and been to 35 countries. I've traveled. You know, I was in the Navy. I traveled around, and I just didn't know who I was talking to. And I think most. It seems like most people don't. And it was amazing after that. Um, I said, I really want to know what this is all about. I want to know what my purpose is. I want to know what I'm doing on this planet. And books started coming to me in an amazing way. You know, and it was weird because if I would have read the books in another way, they wouldn't have made as much sense to me. But it was really amazing. I sincerely asked for answers, and those answers are still coming to me 4 years later. And what I've learned is I remember my wife and I were laying out by the pool one day, and I just sat there, and I had the most amazing discovery within myself, and it was that I didn't know anything. I looked around, and I realized that I didn't know anything. And that was the most amazing thing I've ever discovered. You know, we're brought up in this society, it seems like, that everyone wants to know things, or everyone has to portray that they know things. And I had bought into that my whole life, and I had told many people all the shit that I thought I knew. and that day, I realized I did not know anything. But what that did, it opened like this portal of information. And I finally was open to receive new ways of doing things, new ways of thinking. All of this stuff that, you know, I've learned that our minds create our reality. Our thoughts create our reality. Whatever we think about is real. And the way we think about something makes it real. And it's that's the tip of the iceberg with that. You can go deep into that. But I've tried to simplify most of this just by not attaching myself to outcomes of things. The same thing I'm doing right here. I know that this video could become a huge success. This video may only be seen by 3 people. I don't care. I know that I'm going to be successful at doing this, and I know that the more that I do it, the better I'm going to get at it. And it doesn't matter either way. It's having the how should I say this? It's having a vision and attempting to make that vision come true, but not attaching yourself to the outcomes of any of this. I've realized that the worst things that ever happened to me in my life have been the best things that ever happened to me in bizarre ways. It's really cool to go back and look at your life, and believe me, I've had tons of bad experiences, as I'm sure most of the people watching this. If it's only 3 of you, that's easy. If it's 30,000 of you, well, I'm sure most of you have had bad experiences in your life. And if you go back and look at those experiences, were they bad now? You know, it seemed like going through it at those times, it seemed like a total nightmare. But, you know, if, for instance, you know, I had I had situations in my life where I lost jobs. Well, you know, all the wonderful things that happened after that may not have happened that way if I wouldn't have lost that job. Uh, you know, if I've had girls dump me time and time again. Well, if they wouldn't have dumped me, I don't know. I don't see how that could happen. But if girls wouldn't have dumped me, I wouldn't have met my wonderful wife and had my wonderful children. So, anyway, this video is about people that have inspired me and why. So I'm going to get back to the subject, but all those books came to me in a really amazing way, and they're still coming to me today. You know, there's different people resonate differently to different people. So when you are, you know, something that I read may not be where you are in your life and something that you need to read. But I have learned that if you seek for answers, and you truly seek for answers, and not because someone else told you to, or you know, within yourself, when you look deep inside yourself at who you are, and you ask God, the source, the divine, whatever label you want to put on that. I don't think you can put a label on that. And that's one of the things Eckhart Tolle taught me, was that it would take 1,000 books, 600 pages long, I believe that's the way he put it, to begin to explain or to define a human cell. And we think we know what God is? Come on. I think that the only name, I was actually talking to my son earlier today about it, the only name that we could put on that would be unnameable. You know, there is no name you can put on that. Well, anyway, those are some of the people that inspired me, and thank you for watching my video, and I hope I get a chance to meet anybody that's taking the time to watch my video. Please put any comments you have below, and let's network, let's talk, and let's change this world. Right on.